I think one of the big philosophies I have is like, live every day as if it was your last. And would I be proud of how I live today? We don't have control like when our last day is gonna be, but what we do have control of is how we act in that very last day that we have. And I think if you have that philosophy, that's what's gonna keep pushing you forward, is would I be proud if today was my last day?
Oh, we do have
double. They pushed it together for us.
Got
Said,
your memo.
you know what, he's a big guy, they need to push him together.
By the time that we got to Ferrochet, we were all pretty exhausted.
We are on our 5th night. We've come up, I think, almost 2,000 feet in elevation. So we're going to be staying here for 2 nights just to let our bodies like acclimatize. And so basically you trek during the day, 4 to 5, 6, 7 hours, just depending on how long it takes you, if you kind of stop to get some food. And then all your stuff is brought by the porters, and your bags are here, and then you kind of unpack for the night. I mean, you're not really unpacking, you're just basically getting your sleeping bag out, because we're just getting higher up towards base camp and there's just less facilities. So the last 2 places that we stayed at had heated pads and like full-on lodge. But tonight we're going to be in our sleeping bag for the first time. So yeah, every day, just after a couple of hours of hiking, just depending on the day, come into one of these lodges, and it's going to look a little bit different. So you're going to see it slightly getting a little bit less comfortable the higher up we go.
Yeah, it's strange. Gavin came here yesterday, underneath the rain and sleet and snow. Looked quiet, a bit eerie, but this morning there was a hive of activity, people moving about, and amazing little village high up in the mountain.
The Everest summit.
Find your grit, get back up, keep moving forward.
There you go. Straight from Rebecca this morning. Have an amazing day.
Yeah, this actually it's almost like it's not real. It almost like feels like it's like a piece of like cardboard, like paper, that's just been stuck up on the sky, and I don't even think like pictures or video can like even do it justice, because you really are just like, I mean, we're kind of like in this pocket right now with just mountains surrounding us, and they're just so majestic and just huge. I mean, and it's so beautiful with all like the mist and the clouds and everything coming in. We've got sun, we've got a little bit of haze over there. It's surreal, and I think it just puts like life into perspective. That's why I love adventure. That's why I love doing something physical, is that when you get down from that, it just makes you realize like what's important in life, and it just puts life a little bit more into perspective, like what's really important.
Okay, today is a sort of active rest day. But then our bodies catch up with where we are. We're about 4,200 odd meters here in Ferrochet. But the old age adage of climb high, sleep low. So today we're going to go up to that viewpoint. You see the one on the right with the snow on it and just in the cloud. It's just at 5,000 meters. Just. So we just tip our noses over.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really quite know everything to expect once we got to Kathmandu. He hadn't even told us about the ceremony, hadn't told us that we were going to the memorial. It was just kind of like, I guess this is part of the journey.
All right, it's day 5. We're trying to work out what day it is, to be honest. We think it's day 5 on the way to base camp. So we're in Ferrochet right now. We had 2 nights here at this lodge, just get used to a little bit of a high elevation. And then I believe about a 4 or 5 hour hike today. About 5 hours today to our final destination before we actually head to base camp. So I think the whole group is kind of really itching to feel what it's like to be at base camp. I certainly am. And it's a beautiful day. The sun is out. There's choppers everywhere. And we're out for a 5-hour hike.
We're not rushing today. We're going to break 5,000 meters again. We're going to be sleeping above 5,000 meters for the first time. Labuche is high. It's going to impact our body. And it's going to impact others around us. So Labuche is never that comfortable. It's cold, it's windy, and it's high. Get through that one night, and then we've got a big day tomorrow into base camp. So today is all about taking it steady, listening to our bodies, being attuned to what our body's saying. Lots of liquid. I know you guys are crushing liquid, that's great. We're going to get some, make sure we've got some snacks today. So we're going to grab some biscuits and things at Douglas, as I said. Super enjoyable day. It's an emotional one because of the Climbers Memorial, but one to really sort of absorb and take in. And then, yeah, start to focus on what lays ahead. We're getting there, we're getting close.
All right, and we are off.
We're off. Day 6.
No,
Day 5. Day 5.
I want to know what it feels like at Camp 2. I think once I've done Camp 2, I'll be a little bit more easy because this terrain is so different. Even at Basecamp, there's no snow. There's a little bit of, you know, it's not using crampons. It's a completely different skill set. So what we're doing right now, you're just in hiking boots. You could be in a t-shirt, you know. Yes, there's sun and that's the element, but once you start going up the mountain, that's when you're in different kind of gear. You're in your waterproofs, you're in crampons, you're like, you know, you're even higher up. So I think once I get to Camp 2, I'll feel a bit better.
And then perhaps the most famous, if there is such a thing as a famous memorial, the one directly through there with the white bit on the front, that's Scott Fisher, who was one of the guides in '96, you know, the famous disaster. Made famous by John Krakauer in his book Into Thin Air. But when you look around, there's all sorts of names, people that you perhaps recognise or don't recognise, and each of these little shrines holds super significance to loved ones and to somebody. I mean, you can see them stretching out all the way across the ridge line there, and it's really interesting. It's always a little bit windy here. You quite often get the cloud coming up, so it's always got a feeling of sort of ambience and yeah, significance, I suppose. So it's always quite a humbling place to be. Telling reminders to stay sharp, be focused on what lies ahead. Because whatever we think about Everest and what we can do in terms of modern logistics and technology, she still has the ability to. Not just like that. I mean, some of the names here are the very best of the very best. And whether they made a mistake or whether they were unlucky is neither here nor there. You know, they passed away in the mountains. And yeah, I always spend a little bit of time here just reflecting on what lies ahead and also what's been.
It's really interesting, my personal relationship with loss, because, you know, at 34, never been to a funeral. And I've actually never experienced, you know, someone really close to me, apart from my grandparents, passing away. And I've never experienced real severe loss.
I was it always happens. I mean, I was really lucky. I lost my best friend climbing. You know, just when we were coming into the guide scheme, and it's one of those things. Jules was the best of the best, and when you realise that somebody like that can lose their life, I mean, Udi's got a memorial over there, and I mean, you're a Swiss machine. There's nobody more talented. And when you come here and reflect of all these people, I told myself this wasn't going to happen today. Yeah, it makes you reflect, makes you think, makes you question. At the same time, it is what brings me alive. I feel at one in the mountains, and yeah, I know it's a dangerous place. And I've lost more friends than I care to remember. I reflect on it, and it makes me think, wow, if someone like Jules can make a mistake, we all can. So, yeah, focus is everything in the big mountains. Got to pick your moment, be humble, be focused, and the gods grant us safe passage, then I'll take that every time. I miss you, Jules, and Udi, and everybody else.
Let's put this over here. It just kind of puts life into perspective a little bit, the work that the Sherpas do, because I believe that they were ahead and 14 of them passed in 2014. And I think part of the Himalayan guides, it's part of the team that we're also going with as well. So I know that some of the people that we're with knew some of these people that are being honoured here. So it just puts life into perspective. Obviously listening to Kenton, you know, you're all kind of chirpy on the trail and life is good, and then, you know, just a little bit of a realisation moment that, you know, death is a possibility. You're putting yourself at risk, and just to be grateful for every day, really, because you don't really know.
I know this is a bit different, but this is brings back a bit. He was older than me and he passed away, short illness. My mum lived to a good age, so that was something, but yeah.
It's like there's so many ways, you know, you look at this and it's easy to say, why would somebody do it, you know, but we're all on our own journey, and there's people today who are dying right now in a car crash or walking down the street or having a heart attack, or, you know, and these people are going after what they love to do. It's not bad. I thought it was, the way he was talking about it, it seems warmer in the room than the other one. I mean, I'm still in shorts.
This is definitely squidgier.
Yeah, this is softer.
This is definitely smaller. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to share it tonight.
Yeah.
That's a little bit tight.
Yeah, that's a little bit tight.
Lob?
Labuche?
Lub?
Lube or Labuche?
Labuche.
Labuche.
Like a Christian
Labuche.
Louboutin shoes?
Like a Christian Louboutin.
It's not.
We're not wearing those here, that's for sure.
Labuche. My watch says we are another 2,000 feet in altitude. So we're now at like 16,500, which means that we're going to be sleeping at a higher elevation. We haven't slept at this elevation. It starts to get a little bit different. It's definitely colder here.
I gotta wrap up my blankie. Get my puffer pants on. Or as Kenton calls them, my skinny puffer pants.
Skinny pants.
When you go to buy puffer pants and all they have is large, you come in skinny puffers.
I do have a slight headache though now. I have a slight headache.
We'll down some water,
So just
bring the
get
bags
some
in.
water, maybe a little bit of Advil.
Have you,
You're sharing with
I'm
Kenton.
surprised you
You're
haven't
allowed
got.
to snort.
I suppose you've gone to the desk and gone for an upgrade or something.
I think my dad had a bit of a wave of emotion that came over him. He lost his brother probably 4 months ago, and he lost his mum 2 weeks after that. So I think that he wasn't really thinking about me on the mountain. I think maybe a little bit of that, but I think a lot of it, you know, was losing his brother, and he just had a moment of remembering his brother, who just recently passed away. So I know he found that like pretty tough, and that's always hard to see your parents crying. I think that's one of the hardest things to ever see, is your mum or your dad, you know, in tears. But his spirits are back up now. I think he just had that moment.
Yeah, it just brought out the emotion in me, and I don't know why, it just did. I suppose seeing Kenton the way he was, he's obviously lost some friends of his, and just seeing these people around on that memorial just brought it home to me.
When you walk into the memorial site, you could just feel the energy of it, and you know, the meaning, and you could feel as Kent started talking the significance and the meaning of that place to him as well. And when he started talking about his best friend and, you know, all the greats, you know, that he said some of the best people in the world, you know, are not immune to Everest or that situation. And when he talked about his best friend, that's where, you know, I lost it. I was in tears, because Rebecca's best friend I've ever had. And it just hit me like a wave. Like I didn't see it coming. And then, you know, I couldn't stop crying thinking about it. And it wasn't like I'm worried about Rebecca dying on the mountain. You know, of course that's one of the risks, but it just hit me that like every day matters. Like what are you worried about, or what are you fretting over, or what's upsetting you when life's so precious?
Pretty much all the menus. Oh, Dad's phone's going off. That's Joanne probably FaceTiming. But pretty much you're gonna be able to know exactly what's gonna be on the menu every single step up. They all look pretty much the same, but you actually get a whole massive variety of stuff. So always soup, and lots of garlic soup as well. Lots of things with garlic on, because garlic's really good for altitude. My biggest, I guess, like uncertainty is, well, you just don't know what it's going to be like. Like, what's it going to be like at Camp 2? Different to here compared to like Camp 3. It's just like with anything in life. It's like if you don't know what you don't know. And that's often people's fear about why they won't do something new or they won't try something else, is because they just don't know. Most humans don't put themselves out there because they're scared of what it's going to really be like. But I think most of the times we worry more about things that don't even happen.
She's extremely determined, and she's got grit. She's got strength. My only worry at the moment is the cold weather. She does suffer with the cold weather. She's already spoken about that, and that's my biggest worry. But all the other attributes, if she can put those to good use, I think she'll overcome everything.
Excited to keep on moving towards Basecamp and to finally get there. I think it's going to feel really good once we're finally at Basecamp.
So just come around the corner. If we zoom in right there, that's where we're going. That's Basecamp. And right up there is Everest. There it is. Woo!
No, I feel good today, and I think that once we get to Basecamp, then we can really, this chapter kind of closes, and start to focus on the next part. I think we're doing it in like 3 phases. It's kind of like, this is with my dad, the base camp with my dad, then we got Camp 2 with Luke, and then it's going to be the last push with Kenton, Elia, and the team. So, just enjoying this hike, last part.
Look at that. Good. You just come around the corner.
It's huge.
It is huge.
It's huge. I didn't think it was going to be that big.
So just
you
come
kind
around
of
the corner. And here we go, base camp. With all those, just in the far distance, it's a little yellow blobs.
What does it feel like finally seeing it after, 3 years thinking about it, 6-day journey?
That's not the bit I'm worried about. I mean, from here it just looks like tiny, tiny little bits of yellow, bits of red, which are the tents. So I think we've got a couple of hours left to go, a few hours, and then we'll be there. It's massive.
It's massive.
It's just brilliant, because you can start to see where we're going to be staying for the next couple of nights. And I think there's going to be about 1,000 people there. So lots of people come to base camp. Not everybody stays there. I was asking Kenton some questions along the way, but it's starting to get a bit exciting now.
Yeah, it is.
Great job! Great job, Dad. Well done.
You kind of crushed it.
You did. What a moment.
Where are we going next? What's the next trip? Okay, back.
Honestly, when we got to base camp, it was like one of the coolest moments of my life because of like my dad. And my dad getting to base camp and giving him that hug and him like being a little bit emotional as well. I was like, we did it, Dad. And I think that was just probably one of my favorite moments of the whole trip, was us getting to base camp and then seeing like what was in store next, because there is a big difference between getting to base camp and beyond. And I think that's where it started to really sink in what we got ourselves into.